What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. I wanted to talk to you guys about a chart that I saw kind of showing how much I think things have changed for the New York Jets in just one off season. So for some context, last year, looking at the Jets roster, they had the third oldest roster in the NFL with names like Aaron Rodgers and Thomas Morstead and, the rest of the roster filled with a bunch of vets. They were in win now mode trying to compete with Aaron Rodgers. And unfortunately, as we know, it blew up in their face. They went 5-12, desperately underachieved, and they needed a switch. Out goes the GM, the coaching staff, in comes Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji. And now the Jets go from the third oldest team in the league to the second youngest team in the league with an average age of 25 and a half years old. The Jets have only 3 players who are 30 years old or older. Tyrod Taylor is the vet on the roster, the oldest player at 35, the backup quarterback, followed by the long snapper, Thomas Hennessy, and veteran wide receiver, Josh Reynolds, who is 30 years old. Everyone else is 29 years old or younger. So we're talking about backup quarterback, long snapper, and potentially wide receiver 2, maybe wide receiver 3, but I think wide receiver 2. That are 30 plus years old. Everyone else, 29 or younger. And if you look at the Jets, I'll define as key players, they're all still really young. Quinnen Williams, 27 years old, as the oldest of the core guys. Will McDonald, 26. Jermaine Johnson, 26. Michael Carter, 26. Jamian Sherwood, 25. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner, all 24 years old. Olu Fashion, 22. Armand Membu and Mason Taylor are 21. Those are your core guys. Quinnen on the interior defensive line. He signed for a few more years. Your 2 main edge rushers, your slot corner that you paid, your linebacker that you paid, your wide receiver 1, corner 1, running back 1, left and right tackle and tight end 1 are all 27 years or younger. And that's basically the point, is that the core is still young enough that they should be able to keep most of this group together, outside of maybe Breece Hall. That's the only one that I don't really think will be here the next, we'll say 3 to 5 years. But outside of Breece, all those guys are going to be here. And like Quinnen signed for a few more years. Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson, well, Will's still on his rookie contract. Jermaine's going to need a new deal, but Michael Carter had an extension. Jamian Sherwood got an extension. Garrett and Sauce Gardner are likely to get extensions. Fashion, who's going into year 2 of his rookie deal. Armand Membu and Mason Taylor are both rookies at 21 years old. They're going to be here for the next, 5 years or so. That's exciting to me because, as we know, it might take a little bit. Like, I don't have expectations in 2025 for this team like they absolutely have to be a playoff team. No, in my opinion, I think they have to take a step forward, a tangible step forward, and show signs of progression, but they're not really in a spot where it's like, we're win now. And the irony in this, in my opinion, I think it's honestly pretty likely that they end up with a better record than what they did a year ago. And they were an all-in team trying, and they were an old veteran team that was trying to compete for a playoff spot, try to go on a run with an old quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, and it didn't work. And this year, the expectations are way low. They're the second youngest team in the league, and I think they're going to win 7 games this year. Maybe it's more. I hope it's more. I hope to see them at the 8 or 9 win mark. I think a lot would have to break right for that to be the case. But even worst case scenario for me, I think, is a 6-win season. I see the window from 6 to 8 wins. And if they do that, well, then they exceeded where they were a year ago. And let's go on the high end. Can we be optimistic for a change? If the Jets win 8 games this year, I think we're all feeling pretty good going into 2026 that the Jets have their coach, have their general manager. Who knows? They might find a quarterback in next year's draft, and then you add another guy who's likely, 23 years old or younger to add to this core group, and suddenly you're looking at a window of opportunity from 2026 to, 2029 where you can make some noise. And if you have a quarterback, that's really the key. You're going to be competitive every single year. Look at teams like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. They're in it every single year because of how good their quarterback is. And even if the Jets find someone in the draft who's just league average or better, I think the coaching and the defense should keep them good enough to where they're going to be competitive. They have a young offensive line that they could keep together. They have a young star wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. They have a tight end who I'm very confident in. They have Breece Hall, which is a major question mark, I think, going into this year. I don't know if he's here long term, like beyond the next year or two, if they franchise tag him. But I think there's a lot to be optimistic about, even if they don't have a winning record this year. I think they're a team that's trending in the right direction. And to me, the obvious way to look at it is the age difference. They were, in one offseason, went from one of the oldest teams in the NFL to one of the youngest teams in the NFL. So I want to hear from you. What do you think about the Jets now being one of the youngest teams and what that means for their future? I'm Matt O'Leary. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, like the video before you hop out of here, and I'll catch you next time.